After viewing Dr. Scott's interaction with the patient, what are your thoughts?
I caved. I caved in and gave her the antibiotic. How do you say no to antibiotics and yet still keep the parent satisfied?
That's a great question. I want you all to take a moment and frame your own questions about this case.
How do you deal with a patient who has no time to wait for things to get better when time is the best treatment? And how do you pacify a parent who has an agenda that's potentially harmful to the child but is persistent on seeing it through?
Where did this visit go off course? How can I back up and try again? And how can I transform an adversarial relationship with a patient or a patient's guardian?
How do I persuade the frustrated parent to accept my diagnosis or recommendation? How do I treat the mother of a child with a viral URI?
These are all great questions, and it's easy to understand your frustration. I'm sure we've all had experiences like this. We want to develop and maintain a positive relationship with the mother, but by the end of our encounter, we can see that Dr. Scott felt taken out of his element. What are your thoughts?
From the moment the mother saw the doctor walk into the exam room, she set the tone of the visit.
I agree. Right away, she went head to head. She definitely had an agenda she planned to keep.
Well, with the intensity of her attack, her agenda might have been built upon a prior experience with another physician who probably either denied her request or gave in to her wishes.
When a patient sets a path in this way, it's you, the physician, who has the option to either acquiesce or to think outside the box and lead the discussion down a different road. Let's break into pairs and try a role-playing activity where you reenact the situation from earlier and see if you can conduct the discussion differently. We'll discuss your ideas when you come back. What are some of the ideas you came up with?
Spend enough time to really empathize and convince the parent that she is heard. Get on the same side of the problem as the patient or guardian, but don't uncritically accept that individual's theory or framing of the problem.
Use the patient's language, but give a different meaning. Express surprise that this has gone on for so long. Certainly, if each antibiotic seemed to work at the time, then this must be a different infection.
Reframe the problem not as one long illness, but rather as a series of illnesses. Either that of bad luck, or perhaps even from the use of antibiotics that altered the child's own bacterial ecology and left her more susceptible to the next agent that came along. Consider a probiotic as an alternative.
And be confident, but not abrasive. Be sure to know your own boundaries so as to avoid appearing timid. To avoid warfare and pursue the patient's welfare, use phrases such as, "Go with me a moment on this." In my eagerness to act, I don't want to do the wrong thing. Or, "I'm worried that..."
Use good news, bad news. The real problem is mom's work attendance. By treating the mom's concern and therefore strategizing around it is just as important as treating the child's.
The important thing to remember about clinical experience is if one can learn from these situations, it enables the clinician to remain calm and sure of his or her ability to redeem the situation. As with all other conflicted situations, appearing intimidated, hesitant, or uncertain can simply increase the aggression on the part of the mother and make her go for the kill, so to speak. In the video we just watched, this appears to happen at the moment the mother challenges the certainty of the physician's diagnosis. The key to building an effective and non-adversarial relationship with the mother is to join her around the child's welfare. One final question before we end the session. Do you think this will change the way you interact with patients in the future? In what ways?
I've learned to refrain sooner and heighten empathy to the social economic issues surrounding any illness.
I've learned to redirect the path of the physician and the patient onto the same side of the road.
I will give more thought in each situation about how to take away the fight.
Excellent. So remember this clinical pearl. Don't cave in. Take away the fight by joining in.